Have you ever noticed how many people do struggle with insecurities? Do you wonder why it's so prevalent at work, at home, with your friends? Perhaps it happens to you. Would you love to find a solution? How to figure out how you can actually shift from being insecure to actually feeling secure, confident, and empowered within yourself? Hello, my name is Nadia Fleury, and welcome to Quantum Leap into Love. This is a brand new YouTube channel that I've just created. It's been something that has been a very long project of mine that I want to do for so many years. And finally, today, I decided that this is the day. This is the moment. It feels right inside my body. And what I want you to grasp from this is very similar. Like, okay, I need to give you a little bit of background. So I started 12 years ago as a skincare formulator. I started my own skincare brand 12 years ago. And halfway through the process, like 6 years, like 2016, by 2016, I was struggling. I was just absolutely miserable. And I was, one of the things that I was, that I wanted between the starting point, 2012 to 2016, was someone who could actually hold my hand, or perhaps not necessarily hold my hand, but at least give me an insight. Okay, yes, this is the right direction. This, no, that, don't go there. But I didn't have that. I was on my own, trying to figure it out and trying to figure out this new industry. And there were so many things to learn, because skincare formulation was one thing, but packaging and branding and learning the software also to help me, like creating a website. And there were so many components that was all like it all piled up on top of each other, and I had no clue, like from one step to the next, if I was heading in the right direction. And I dreamed to have this. I just thought, oh, I could do with this person who's going to want to sit next to me, and I could show them my work and could do like, and then that person would guide me. Well, I became that person. And I decided today that I'm talking to that 44-year-old woman who was looking for me 10 years ago. I'm here, and I'm recording this in case that in the quantum leap of love, things sometimes shift, meaning that maybe I did hear you, because maybe in the quantum leap, this video already existed. I know it's kind of weird what I'm sharing here, but I've experienced so many weirdness that this is one of the reasons why I'm creating this channel, and that's why I'm creating this project. So I'm not sure if I introduced myself. My name is Nadia Fleury. I am deep down inside, I'm a creative visionary, and I help, I'm an advisor for visionaries who are looking for insights and inputs into their visions. And if I'm looking down it's because I happen to have put my notes right here on the screen, so it helps me to keep organized, and so I know what to say to you. And so I'm just going to go back, because this is kind of like me first time around doing this video. I'm just not sure how to go about to do all this, but hey, I'm learning. I'm cutting myself some slack. And this is one of the first thing I want you to do, is cut yourself some slack. If you want to go somewhere, if you want to be something, if you want to achieve something, why trying to always be perfect? Where is that going to lead you anyway? You're just going to procrastinate. You're just not going to do it. How do I know? Ask me, 12 years into the making. I know what it feels like when you want to be perfect. But I'm going to share with you this little rule. And then I'll go back to the skincare for a moment. So I just want to explain. But just because it came about and I don't want to forget, I'm going to explain to you Rule 51. I want you to remember this forever. Rule 51. When we went to school, we learned that we were good people if we had high grades like A or A plus, and maybe B, depending on the criteria and who's doing the judging. Maybe B was okay, B plus. But by the time you got a C and a D and lower than that, you were considered a failure. And that was a problem. And it was a problem everywhere. It was a problem at home because your parents were upset. It was a problem with your self-worth and your self-esteem. It was a problem at school with a teacher. And that was really sad, isn't it? Because we were conditioned to be perfect. But remember that the perfection was in relation to what we were told to memorize in our heart by either reading a book or some material. So basically it was not our material that we had to memorize. It was something else from somebody else. And that's kind of cool at school because the school had to give us some basis to go on with life, and I have no problem with that. Except that in our mind we have created this idea that we need to be perfect. We need to have, a high score. But in reality, in life, especially living in this material world where it's run from a dualistic perspective, meaning good, bad, right, wrong, you have that duality going on. So Rule 51 simply means that why giving yourself a headache in trying to be 100% when 51% is good enough? Because the idea, it's not a one-time 51%, it's an addition. And the more you do it, eventually you get better and better. But at least the Rule 51 gives you the okay to get started. Because you don't, like in your mind, you don't have to get started. I have to be perfect on the first go. That's really what I'm saying here. I'm not saying cut corners. I'm not saying that you have to lower your standards or anything like that. That's up to you. What I'm saying here is that we have this idea that we have to have it done perfect the first day or we don't do it at all. And I think that that's one of the reasons why so many people struggle with insecurities. And since this whole conversation is about me helping you to build confidence, well, confidence tip number 1, cut yourself some slack. Tip number 2, Rule 51. And now what I want to bring back to you is my journey, a little bit about me. I was saying to you, I started the skincare in 2012, and throughout from 2012 to 2016, I was like working and trying to create everything from scratch, from marketing to research and development, and then formulation and packaging and everything. By the end of 2015, I was exhausted. I was tired, exhausted. I was very frustrated with myself. And the one thing that was a problem with me was that I was not in revenue. That was the barometer of success for me. I am not in revenue, and therefore I'm worth nothing. And then I asked God, I said, God, just send me someone. Give me a break. Have grace, have mercy on me, do something. And I went into a personal development event. It was early to January 2016. And I show up, and it was bad weather day. And of course, it was planned ahead of time, but on that day it was not very good weather. And only about 10 people showed up. They were expecting like 50 people, but only 10 people showed up. And so the trainer decided to, rather than following the script, he decided to make it very intimate and very personal. And in that moment, the process that I went through that night changed myself completely. And what happened is I tapped into this oneness. Like, if you ever heard people who are talking about near-death experience, where they go on the other side and they come back and they explain to you that they come back, what they experienced was they were in that zone of full of love and everything, and the light and everything. Well, it was similar for me, except that it was not from a death, not necessarily physically. Physically speaking, I was healthy. It was a spiritual. My awareness went into this quantum leap into love. That's exactly where I went. And then I came back on earth, but I never came back the same. And everything changed after that. Everything. My way of seeing things, my perspective on life. But I came back with the end result of how I felt. But I came back into my world that nothing was working. It took me 6 years to understand all the stuff that I experienced and why I had to experience that. And I believe that this information that it took me 6 years to learn is really important for me to share with you through these YouTube episodes. So I invite you to stay tuned for the next episode, when I'm going to go in more detail into how you can actually bring more confidence in your life, so that you don't have to go and live your life like with creating this facade where you pretend to be secure, but basically you're kind of wobbly inside. We want more secure people to be ready for what's coming up next. So stay tuned for more. This is Nadia Fleury, and thank you so much for watching, and I'm signing off for today. Talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to Awaken Your Inner Magic.